we're getting ready to start. Okay, thank you. Okay, see you, man.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us. We're here today to talk about the homicide investigation the homicide that occurred on April 2nd at Manassas Mall on Sudley Road, which is in the Manassas area of Prince William County. To date, we are asking for the public's assistance in helping to identify the suspects that are involved. We have put out extensive information on the case, and we are still asking for the public's assistance in identifying those that were involved in the case. I'm joined today by Prince William County Police Chief Peter Newsham and the victim's family, who are going to plead for assistance in the case. Chief Newsham.
All right, good morning. Thank you very much for coming for this important case. On April 2nd, 2021, at approximately 23:20 hours, Prince William County units responded to the parking lot of the Manassas Mall, located in the 8300 block of Sudley Road, Manassas, Virginia, in reference to a shooting. Two victims were located in the parking lot suffering from gunshot wounds. One of the victims was flown to an area hospital where he was treated for his injuries and released. Unfortunately, the second victim, 34-year-old Jamar Graves, was transported to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. The investigation revealed that the two victims who were temporarily staying in the area as a result of some local contract work they were hired to complete. The two victims and a friend went out to the mall for an evening out when they encountered a second group of 5 unknown individuals. By all accounts, the two groups did not know each other. A relatively minor altercation ensued inside of the mall and did not escalate past some pushing and shoving. The two groups then exited the mall where they encountered each other in the parking lot. A verbal argument ensued in the parking lot, and one of the suspects brandished a firearm and fired multiple shots at the victims. The 5 subjects in the suspect group then entered a black BMW with Virginia temporary tags, and they fled the area. As the vehicle was fleeing, a second suspect fired multiple shots in the direction of the victims. Surveillance video from the area business was collected. Images of the victims and suspects were recovered from the video, as you can see. And we are currently asking anybody that has any information relative to this shooting, please come forward. Jamar's mom, Cheryl, is here today with her family. Jamar was a father of 3 young children. 14-year-old Jamar, his son, 10-year-old Harmony, his daughter, and then 2-year-old Liam, his baby son. There's no way in the world that we should be out here talking about a 34-year-old son and father who unnecessarily lost his life to gun violence, but here we are. We are asking the 5 individuals that were there, that were involved, the suspects in this case, to do the right thing and to come forward. And in the alternative, anybody who might have information or anybody who can identify these suspects who are involved in this shooting to please come forward and let us know. I'm now going to ask Jonathan to come up and talk a little bit about the reward that's being offered in this case. And then Jamar's mom is going to come up and say a few words. Jonathan.
Thank you, Chief. As the Chief hinted at, we have released several still images, and a actual video to kind of aid in our assistance in identifying these suspects. Our department, Prince William County Police Department, is offering a $10,000 reward. Our partnership with the FBI, Street Safe, IDA Task Force is also offering an additional $5,000, so we have a $15,000 reward for any information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the suspects involved in this case. So that is now out there and available. I will now ask for the victim's family to come forward and say a few remarks.
Good morning. On April 2nd, 2021, my son Jamal Gray Sr. was murdered. He was trying to defuse a confrontation when he was shot and killed. Jamal was the father of 3 young children. Jamal was a brother, a grandson, an uncle, a nephew, cousin, and a friend. My son was in Virginia working to provide for his children. Now his children are fatherless. I'm appealing to all the mothers and people who have lost loved ones to gun violence. These people are dangerous and have demonstrated they have no concern for human life. Please contact the police with any information you may have related to my son's case. Any information to prevent them from killing another person and stop them from hurting another family member. We need your help to bring these people to justice so they will not have another opportunity to the life of someone else. Stopping them may just save the life of your son, your daughter, or your loved one. So I'm asking that you please help the police department so that we can have peace. Thank you.
Thank you. As you said, as we've been saying, we are going to re-release the images and the video that we have of the suspects following this press conference in hopes to identify those individuals involved. Right now, we'll take any questions or anything.
Chief, those are some very clear images there. You know, if I saw that and I knew that person, I probably would be able to tell you who that was. Do you have any idea why people would not be identifying these people who were so clearly seen in these images?
You know, it could be a couple of things. You know, unfortunately, gun violence has become all too familiar for folks, and so people may not have paid attention to the images. One of the reasons we're holding this press conference, and again, I want to thank you all for covering this, is to get these images out, because like you said, Neil, somebody out there can look at those images and tell us exactly who those folks are. If they're not going to take responsibility, personal responsibility for their actions and turn themselves in, then we're going to ask the public to give us some assistance. So I think shining this light on it, we're hopeful that somebody will come forward.
And I wonder what, and maybe someone in the family can answer, but I wonder whether what Mom would say to Jamar if he witnessed or if he saw something, the discussion about the importance of coming forward to provide this information.
I don't know, Cheryl, did you want to answer that? What you might say to Jamar?
About coming forward.
I would encourage my son to do the right thing and put peace to somebody else's family. If he was been in the other shoe, I would encourage him to do the right thing and come forward. That's what I would do.
Thank you.
So Cheryl and I met today, and one of the things Cheryl impressed upon me is the way that she raised her children. She raised her children to do the right thing. Jamar was known to dote on his 3 children, to provide support for those kids. And for those kids to unnecessarily, like I said earlier, to lose their dad it's heartbreaking, and it's so unnecessary. And that's why we're asking the public, if you look at these images, if you know these folks, please come forward. Yes.
I'm Jill Palermo with the Prince William Times, and I wondered if you could tell us, have you gotten any tips so far, and have you been able to discern where the two groups came together in the mall, and is there any details you can give us about that? Because maybe people who were in the mall that night might have seen them. So can you tell us where the confrontation started in the mall?
So what I would say on, we don't want to get into too many specifics on exactly where they were, but I will say this: it was on April 2nd, I believe, around 11:30, a little close to 11:30. So if you were in the mall or around the mall at that time on that date, and you saw something, in this BMW in particular, with the paper tags, is something that might stand out, refresh somebody's recollection. So if they have any little tidbit of information, we'd be happy to have it. And you had asked whether or not we had gotten any tips so far. Remarkably, we have gotten very few tips on this case. It's been our experience when we release videos that are this clear that oftentimes we will get somebody who will call in and help. So again, we're just urging folks, if they know something, think about Jamar, think about his family, think about his kids, and we got to help, but we need some help here from our community.
Can I ask a follow-up question about the tags on the car? You mentioned they were temporary tags. Has that made it? Are you unable to know what the number was or to trace the vehicle?
Yeah, if we had a number, we would provide that, but right now we don't have a number. One of the things about the Virginia temporary tag makes it stand out. Obviously, it's a paper tag. It's from the state of Virginia. That's the only identifiers we have right now from the images that we have. So that may be another thing. Somebody may have seen this car, may have some digits on the tag, and that could forward our investigation.
And the other victim, you only told us that he was 22, and he was working with Jamar, right? Can you tell us where he's from and how he's doing?
For his privacy, we're not going to go into too much detail. He was the victim of gunshot wounds, which is always very, very serious. He is recovering right now, from what I understand. He has been fully cooperative in the investigation. He apparently knew Jamar and had worked with him for a period of time. So these were colleagues who were in the area, doing the right thing. They were doing their contract work. Went out for a night at the mall, and now you have a young man who's no longer with us. And that's really the story that we're telling here. That's what happened. And that just, we as a community, we can't tolerate that. We just can't. So if anybody has anything, they know these folks, we're urging them to come forward.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.